Hello YouTube, Christy here with another video. This is going to be my first book review, so let's just go ahead and get into the video. So the book that I'm going to be reviewing is called Let's Get Lost by Adi Alsaid, and this is his debut novel. Normally when I read contemporary books, I have no intention of really putting much thought into them. They're kind of quick reads for me, so I didn't originally plan on doing a book review about this when I first read it. But kind of about 3/4 of the way in, I decided that I really needed to do a book review on this. So for the first portion, I'm going to do a non-spoilery section, and then after that I'm going to warn you guys once it gets to the part where I'm going to be pretty much spoiling the entire book. So I'd recommend, if you have not read the book yet, stop once you get to that point. So let's get into this. So this book is about a girl named Layla who is on this road trip and nobody really knows why. So her destination is the Northern Lights, but nobody really knows why, and she tells people kind of like different reasons, and we don't really find out the actual reason why she has gone to the Northern Lights until the very end. So in the book, she meets 4 different characters, and each character has a different story, and so she kind of just throws herself into their stories for the time being. And every story kind of begins with a section looking like this. There is a postcard that she has written either to one of the characters in the story or to like a family member. So as you read, you'll kind of figure that out. And then she opens each new character up with this beautiful page of a map, and it says the character's name, and then it starts over back at chapter 1 telling this person's story. So she comes across different people along the way, and in every, she tells, in the first part of the story, she says that she's zigzagging her way across the country until she gets up to Canada and then Alaska. But each character is like from different parts, so if you try to map it out, she goes like this. She goes like, pretty much. So it was really interesting to read, but the character Layla is 17 years old because the way she carried herself made her seem a little bit older, but she's just going on this road trip and she comes across all of these characters, and yeah, so at the very end you kind of, everything wraps up and you kind of figure out why she's on the trip to begin with, and it just kind of all goes down from there. So that is the non-spoilery section of the book. It's a really fun read, and I would highly recommend picking it up if you just are getting off of like a book hangover because you've just immersed yourself in some like fantasy series and you just need something simple to take your mind off of that and kind of bring you back to reality. This next portion is going to have tons of spoilers, so like I said, I would say pause it right now, put it on your watch later playlist, and come back and watch it after you read the book. You've been warned. Are you gone yet? Okay, so let's talk. I have so many opinions on this book. First off, let's talk about how unrealistic it is. I have a very hard time because I know that I'm not very far off from being a teenager. I'm not like that disconnected. I hang out with teenagers all the time. I haven't been a teenager though for like 6 years. But I feel like when I was a teenager and I was coming across situations where I was if I would see somebody random and they were being nice to me, even if it was like a young person, not like a strange old person that just comes up in this like blood red car and is like trying to talk to me, I automatically assume that they must want something. So immediately I'm pretty suspicious when I read this and the characters are just kind of like, oh, hey, and especially in the case of Elliot, she like hit the guy. She hit the guy with her car on accident, but he still like gets in the car and she's like, let me take you to the hospital, and he's like, no, just take me home, I'm fine. That's how I feel about that. I feel like it's very unrealistic, and especially when you get to Sonia's part and they're talking about going across the country, crossing the border and just sneaking into Canada, and then they find this police officer, this border patrol officer, who's just like, all right, well, you guys look nice, like I'm not in the mood to tell my wife any more stories, so just like go back. I'm not gonna get you in trouble, but go back, because this is my bathroom spot in the woods. Next part of my review, I'm going to be talking about the character development and the lack thereof. I really wish that I would have gotten to know all the characters a little bit better, because the whole time that I'm reading this, I'm thinking to myself, all right, now how is the author going to bring them all together in the end? how are we going to, you know, are they all going to meet up with each other? Are they all going to like join up at the Northern Lights and sing Kumbaya? Like, what is this going to look like? And so I was very upset to get to the end and realize the only character who actually comes back into the story is Hudson. The whole book, after she goes through Hudson's part, I'm thinking to myself, so was that just like a fling? Does she actually like him? And it isn't until the second to last story, Sonia's story, where we hear that she actually liked Hudson all along. Like, I had no idea. So, you know, I had a hard time with that because I really wish that the author would have kind of brought all the characters back up. You know, I think his intention was that this is a girl who got in a tragic car accident, lost her memory, lost her family, and she's on this trip trying to find herself. And I guess maybe his intention was saying that in finding herself, she had to kind of immerse herself in other people's stories along the way. But I feel like, you know, normally in this kind of story, I would expect that she grows along the way. And as she learns more, she grows as a person. But she doesn't. You know, she just is this innocent girl who, I mean, is innocent for the purpose that she has lost her memory. She has no idea like who she was before this. I think once I got to the end and we like read the wrap up about Layla, like I can understand why a lot of what I read happened. But at the same time, I do wish, like I said, that there would have been more to kind of wrap up and develop the story. And then I have a fun question. Which story for you guys was your favorite to read? Mine definitely was Sonia's story. Let's just talk about that. Stoner Timmy. He just made the book for me. The whole time I'm reading this and I'm just thinking, this is just another contemporary, kind of a spin-off of Paper Towns. Like, what is the point of this? And then when we get to the part where Sonia is trying to make her way back into Canada because she has lost her passport, you know, she's got these wedding rings and she's trying to save a wedding. And then we get to this point where Sonia's brother says, go to Tim Hortons and talk to Stoner Timmy. And I'm like, there's no way this is real. Are we gonna go there? We're going there. She gets there with Layla and they're just thinking to themselves, what have we gotten ourselves into? This guy looks crazy. And they meet Stoner Timmy and he is everything I'd pictured he would be. Like, as I'm reading his parts in my head, I'm like, I can hear his voice. He's just like, it's all in the donuts, man. Like Bavarian cream, you know, just, I'd prefer that, but like, it's all in the donuts. So they get into a donut truck and they go across the border, well, try to go across the border, and this guy's like, get out of my truck, and doesn't have them arrested. They just walk 30 minutes back to Tim Hortons and say, well, that didn't work, Timmy, let's talk a little bit more. And Timmy says, oh, no, I said it was in the donuts. I never said there was a delivery truck. And so then he drives them, puts them in the trunk, and as they get to the border crossing, and they're just sitting in a trunk, and the Border Patrol officer opens up the trunk, he just stares at them blankly, Stoner Timmy stares at them blankly, and then he shuts the trunk, and the girls are just sitting there going like, if it were me, I would jump out of the trunk and say, I am so sorry, I'm just trying to save a wedding, like, I'm guilty, you can take me to jail, just get these rings to the wedding. But they just sit there. I keep replaying the scene in my head because I just think it's so funny. And maybe I've watched way too many episodes of Border Patrol, Canadian Border Patrol on YouTube. I don't know. If you guys haven't seen that show, look it up. It's hilarious. Pretty much every episode is online. And it just, basically Canada's real serious about who they let in their country. So this whole time I'm replaying this and it's the funniest thing to me. I just loved it. I can't even get over it. It was so funny. Overall, I gave this book a 3.25 out of 5 stars. I think it's very good for a debut novel. I would recommend the book. It's a fun read, but in my opinion, I wish that there would have been a little bit more to it. That is my first book review. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like it below and subscribe. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.